today, I want to ask you, where are you willing to do some things in your business? You have to be willing in business to fail. You have to be willing to learn and then be frustrated, like super frustrated because you can't get it right. You have to be willing to go into software and try the same thing 10 times, to go watch another video, to come back to it, to stop, to pause, to ask for help. All of those things. You have to be willing to spend money on your business. Be willing to invest in your dream. Be willing to be wrong, to be embarrassed, to be a beginner. Hello, I'm Debbie Shadid, the host of the Life Coach Business Building Podcast. If you are ready to have more clients in your life coach business, then you're in the right spot. Each week, I'm going to teach you super simple strategies to grow your business without feeling overwhelmed and without spending money on paid ads. Now, if that sounds interesting, stick around and let's get started. Hello. Today, I want to talk to you about something that I learned from Corinne Crabtree. In June, I had the opportunity to go to a boot camp, a business boot camp that Corinne Crabtree hosted. If you guys don't know who she is, she's the founder of No BS Weight Loss. She also is, an incredible entrepreneur, the top earner at the Life Coach School. And now she does some business coaching. She has an OBS business membership. So I'm part of that. And I went to Nashville to attend her 2-day boot camp. And I have to tell you, I learned lots of stuff about funnels and I learned lots of analytical things and things that will advance my business. But what I learned that is stuck in my mind that I want to share with you today that applies to all of you at any stage of your business is one word and one concept. So Corinne, thank you. What she said was, you have to be willing. And I was like, willing. And she kept bringing it up over and over and over. In the 2 days we spent together, willing. And I found myself at that conference in a position where I was unwilling to do something. And my personal coach was sitting actually right beside me. And I was sharing with her what it was that I wanted to do. And I was telling her how uncomfortable I felt about something. And she said, well, you have to be willing. And she brought that word back. You have to be willing to go do something and to feel uncomfortable or to be judged anyway. So let me tell you what it was, because I think this is a great example that you guys can figure out how to apply to your business. And now I kind of laugh at. So what I wanted to do was, I was so excited to talk to people about the business coaching that I do. But I was at Corinne's event and she's a business coach. And so out of respect, I told myself, I'm not going to talk about my coaching to people. I'm not going to share what it is I can do to help people. Now, I will say the work that Corinne does is work that works for me. And so there was a lot of people there that didn't even have businesses or were just starting or didn't have very many clients. Like they were more like the clients that I work with in my business. And I told myself, look, out of respect for Corinne, I'm certainly not going to introduce myself as being a business coach for coaches. And so I was telling my personal coach over a lunch break, like, golly, there's so many people I could help here. And she said, well, why are you not talking to people? Why are you not introducing yourself to people? And I said, because I don't want to, I feel out of integrity doing that. It doesn't feel right to me. And she said, well, what if you're wrong about what Corinne would think about that? Because I had made up a story that Corinne would be upset if I introduced myself to people as a business coach, because this was her business event. And so my personal coach that was sitting beside me said, look, Debbie, why don't you be willing to risk Corinne being upset with you, because your mission is to help women in their business. Why don't you be willing to go talk to people and just let the discomfort of the story that you've told yourself about being out of integrity, if you talk about your business coaching at Corinne's event, why don't you just let that be there and start talking to people? So I was like, you know what? She's right. I have to be willing in order for me to help people and to live out my mission and to help women that I know that were at that event that needed my help, that needed all of the foundational stuff in their business, that needed answers that she wasn't giving at this event. I had to be willing to be uncomfortable. So I started talking to people about what my coaching was all about. And I started to say, look, Corinne helps people with a funnel. And if you guys don't know what that is, you're actually my ideal client. And I help people before the funnel. So there was people that were literally saying to me, well, what is a funnel exactly? And by the way, that's just a way that you bring people in step by step, either through emails. An email funnel is one email that follows the next, that follows the next. It's a sequence of emails where you deliver information, or maybe you come to my Canva workshop, you enter into my funnel, and then you go through a series of like a dozen emails. And the idea of the funnel is it brings you to my calendar where you schedule a consult, then you become a client. So that's what a funnel's like. It's the process that you bring somebody into. But again, part of the people did not have funnels. And here I wasn't talking to anybody because they weren't going to leave Corinne, because Corinne's a total rock star. She's amazing. I want to work with her forever. So, but they could actually do the work better with her if they had a few of their questions answered. And they were answers that I could give them. So I went about my way talking to people. And here's the irony of the deal, is that on the last day, at the end of the day, she asked a question to the audience and said, who are the business coaches in here? Raise your hand. So I had an opportunity to raise my hand, and she said, the rest of you guys who have questions, you need to ask these people. Go in the Facebook group. These people need to support you because they can give you answers. So how ironic was that? And I'm sure this goes on in the same way in your life, where you're not doing something, where you're unwilling to experience discomfort because you've got a story about something that is not serving you. So thank God I got coached. And my coach said, go be willing to be uncomfortable. Be willing to have Corinne be upset with you. Be willing to have her say, hey, you crossed the boundary here. This is my event, right? Instead, what happened was she opened the door for me and said, help people. Please support people. So thank you, Corinne, for that, by the way. But this willingness, this word has not left me since then. It made such an impact on me. And so today I want to ask you, where are you willing to do some things in your business? You have to be willing in business to fail. You have to be willing to learn and then be frustrated, like super frustrated because you can't get it right. You have to be willing to go into software and try the same thing 10 times, to go watch another video, to come back to it, to stop, to pause, to ask for help. All of those things. You have to be willing to spend money on your business. Be willing to invest in your dream. Be willing to be wrong, to be embarrassed, to be a beginner. Oh my goodness, you guys, we have these expectations that we should be so much further along than we are. You have to start in the same place that Corinne did. And if you listen to Corinne's story, she started on her couch charging such a small amount of money. I'm talking about, I think she said it was $5 a week. Corinne, I hope I'm not getting this story wrong. And I hope you're listening to this podcast. So you have to be willing to do that, you guys. You have to be willing to do some things that you feel uncomfortable about. You have to be willing to do things that you're not confident in, to show up even when you're sick. I am blown away at how often people will say, well, I'm not feeling great. And I'm like, not very often has there been times when I did not show up for an appointment because I didn't feel well. I just show up anyway. And now we have this luxury of working at home where all we have to do is like get ourselves together enough to show up on Zoom and be there. We don't even have to leave our house. So you have to be willing to show up even when you don't feel good. You have to be a leader when nobody is following. Are you willing to do that? You have to be a leader until they do follow you. And that takes time. You have to get up and do the work when everyone else is sleeping on Saturday morning. Just like for those of you who've lost weight, you have to say no to pancakes when you're making pancakes for the family. It is the same thing. You have to be willing to send emails and have people judge you for being nuts. You have to be willing to send emails with typos. You guys know how embarrassed I have been over the years about emails that I have sent that had typos, until one day I finally said, oh my gosh, you got to get over yourself. This is keeping you from building a business. And it was, you guys. I still to this day, how many times you guys have read an email from me that says you and it should say your? I don't know how I do it. I have Grammarly that's supposed to check all the words. It still doesn't check it for me and find those words. So you have to be willing to be embarrassed. You have to be willing to say no to the people that are not your ideal clients. When you say yes to a client because you need the money and you know for sure they're not the person you want to work with, you're miserable, miserable, miserable. You cannot do what's right for them if you're not a coach for them, and you cannot do what is right for everybody else. All right. Then you walk around resenting your customer. You show up grouchy in your life. Do not say yes to the wrong people. Be willing to say no. You have to be willing to be ghosted. How often are you guys thinking that that is such a big deal? It is not a big deal to be ghosted. It's no big deal. Those people are the people who can't just send you an email back and say, no, I don't want to work with you. It's so silly. Just say no. It's not going to hurt my feelings. Just tell me no. You have to be willing to have, quote, stalkers on social media. I know I talked about this a few podcasts ago. They're not stalkers, you guys. They're just, maybe they are, but they're just weirdos who have time and energy and effort to comment on things and just say you look pretty. And they're just weird people. You have to be willing to just put up with that. You have to be willing to have somebody say to you that you don't know what you're talking about. You have to be willing to do lives and totally screw up what you're saying. You have to be willing to show up and not look your best. You guys get it where I'm going here? Willing. Write that word down. Corinne, thank you for giving me that word. You have to be willing to do the things that nobody else will do consistently to get your business built. All right, you guys, go do it. Go be willing. Cannot wait to see what's going to happen for you. Write down that word, stick it on your computer, and get to work. Have an amazing week, guys. Talk to you later. Bye-bye. Okay, ladies, that is it for today. Before we go, I want to invite you to head over to debbieshada.com. I have this incredible Canva training specifically designed for life coaches, where I'm going to teach you how to use Canva to create beautiful graphics to market your life coaching business. All right, have an amazing week. I'll talk to you very soon. Bye-bye.